4.4 is factoring or solving by factoring. When you have a x squared plus bx plus c, okay, solving by factoring. Now, this is the tricky part. Your a is not going to be 1 like it has been. So, let's say you have 5x squared minus 17x plus 6. I want to solve this by factoring this. Okay? So I need something that multiplies to give me 6, but when it's multiplied by the factors of 5, it adds to give me 17, negative 17. Okay? So here's what I would suggest for you. I would suggest taking this number 5 and listing all the factors of 5. What are the factors of 5? 5 and 1. And then I would suggest taking the 6 and listing all the factors of 6. What are factors of 6? 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Now, if you look at 5 and 1, okay, I know that since 5 and 1 are the only factors of that, I have to put a 5x and I have to put an x. I have a 5, I have a 1. There's no way around that. But I need to figure out what can multiply to 5 and 1 to add to give me negative 17. Okay? So if I start with 1 and 6, I would do this. I would ask, what's 5 times 1? 5. What's 1 times 6? 6. 5 and 6. Can that get me to 17 when I add them together? No. Okay? What's 6 times 5? 30. What's 1 times 1? 1. Can 30 and 1 get me to 17? No. What's 5 times 2? 10. 1 times 3. Can 10 and 3 get me to 17? Okay. What's 5 times 3? 2 times 1. Can 15 and 2 get me to 17? So you need it so that it's 5 times 3, which means if this is where the 5 is, my 3 has to go in the opposite one. So 3 goes over here, 2 goes here. Now, this sign is what? Negative. And this sign is? Positive. So both of these have to be negatives. Good. And now I've factored. Does this take time? Yes. Is it a guessing game? Yes. Is there an easy way around it? No.
Sure there is.
There is not graphing in this segment. Yeah. Not in this section or the next one. Just in that first section we did. And then when we do the second part of this, there will be more. Yeah, after break. Like third quarter. Okay, what about this one? Let's try this. 3x squared plus 20x minus 7. Okay, how am I going to start this? What am I going to do? Okay. Jason says 3x and x because he knows the only factors of 3 are 3 and 1. Okay. I'm going to write it over here just so I can visually see it. What are the factors of 7? 7 and 1. I need to get to 20. 1 times 1 is? 1. 3 times 7 is? 21. Can I get to 21 that way? Yes. So I need the 7 over here. I need the 1 here. Now, the 7 is negative. The 20 is positive. So which number has to be positive, which has to be negative? Yeah. First one's negative. Second one's positive. Because 7 times 3 is 21. I need the larger number to be positive. Okay. It's always going to be whatever this is, it goes with the larger number. So now I've factored that. We're just doing lots of factoring today. Let's try this. What happens if I have 9x squared minus 64? Ooh, okay. Does anyone notice anything about 9x squared minus 64?
It's a perfect square.
Both of them are perfect squares, and what's in the middle of them? A minus, so it's a difference of squares, a difference of squares. So do I have a rule about difference of squares?
Yes.
What's my rule?
Don't you have to, one positive and one negative?
Yes, one positive and one negative. And then what's the square root of 9x squared?
3.
3 what?
X.
3x. So that's what goes here and here. What's the square root of 64?
8.
So that's what goes here and here. Now I've factored. If you can start recognizing that right away, it's going to save you a lot of time. I told you, I'm literally going to throw we're going to do 15 problems on the board today. Lots of them. We're just going through it. And then you're going to do it for homework. Let's say you have 4y squared. Okay, and let's say you have plus 20y plus 25. Okay. What do you notice about this one?
Perfect square.
It's a perfect square trinomial. Good, because this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. What is 4 times 5? Not 4. What is 2 times 5?
10.
10. So 10 plus 10 will get me to 20. So how do you do perfect square trinomials? Remember, we only have one set of parentheses. I take the square root of this, which is 2y, and then this sign is positive, and the square root of 25, which is
5.
and I have factored. If you can recognize those special patterns, it's going to be much easier for you. Okay, what about this one? 36w squared minus 12w plus 1. 36w squared minus 12w plus 1.
Isn't that also a perfect square trinomial?
It is, because 1's a perfect square. We can't forget that. So, what goes inside my parentheses?
6, 7.
What sign?
Minus.
Minus, and then a.
1.
Okay, all of those were special case ones. Let's do more. Okay, let's say, what happens if I have this? What happens if I have 5x squared minus 45? 5x squared minus 45. What do I do with that?
Don't you have to list the factors?
No. Because this doesn't have a middle to it. Okay, so ask yourself first, even on the ones that have middles, ask yourself first, is there something that can come out of everything? Can I take a number out of this?
5.
5. So if I take out a 5, I then have x squared minus 9, yes? What is x squared minus 9?
X minus 3x plus 3.
It's a difference of squares. X minus 3x plus 3. Okay, so now I factored it completely. Okay, so sometimes we're going to combine more than one step in what we're doing. Always ask yourself, is there something that can come out of everything? Because if there is, that's where we want to start so that we can reduce it down to easier numbers. How about this? Negative 5z squared. And then we're going to say plus 20z. Negative 5z squared plus 20z. What do I do there?
Take out the -5.
Negative 5 and the
Z.
z. If I take out a negative 5z, I'm left with z minus 4. Yes? Okay. Is that factorable any further?
No.
No. So that's where I stop. Okay. 6q squared minus 14q plus 8. Okay. Always ask yourself, is there something I can take out of all of this?
Yes.
What?
2.
2. So if I take out a 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3q squared. 14 makes it 7q, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now I need to factor this. What do I automatically know has to be here and here?
3 cube and then cube.
And then cube, because 3 is just 1 and 3, right? What is 4? Possible breakdowns of 4. 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. And remember, we need to multiply to get 4, add to get negative 7. What's 1 times 1? What's 3 times 4? 12. Does 12 and 1 get me to 7? Okay, what's 3 times 1?
3.
What's 1 times 4? Can that get me to 7? Yes. So I need to put the 1 here, and I need to put the 4 here. What signs do I need?
The negative of the 4.
Okay. Another negative. Beautiful. I told you we're just going to do a bunch of these. 12p squared minus 21p. 12p squared minus 21p plus 3, I believe. Yes, plus 3. Okay. Is there anything that can come out of all of it?
Yes.
What?
3.
3. That makes what here? What does this change to?
P.
4p squared. And what does this change to? What's 21 divided by 3?
7.
7p. And then 3 divided by 3 is just 1. Okay, so I have 3, and then I have 2 sets of parentheses. Now, 4 is 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. 1 is just 1 and 1, right? I'm going to have a 1 here, I'm going to have a 1 here. Now, I need to get to 7. Is it possible to multiply 1 times 1 and 4 times 1 and get to 7? Is it possible to do 2 times 1 and 2 times 1 to get to 7? No. So, your actual answer is this part right here. It cannot be factored any further. Okay? So sometimes you might think, hey, I need to test this and try this out, which is true. You need to test it and try it out. But it might not be factorable any further. Okay? That's when they say factor. Remember, when they say solve, or when something's set equal to 0, what do you have to do from there?
Set it equal to 0.
And do what? You have to figure out what the zeros are, right? So let's say it says solve. Let's say my equation says solve, and it gives you this. It gives you 3x squared plus 10x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, how am I going to solve this? First, I ask myself, can something go into all 3 of those? No. So what do I have to do? Factor. I list the factors of 3, which are 1 and 3. So that means one of these is a 3x, right? And 1 is an x. I list the factors of 8. 1 and 8, 2 and 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 8 is 24, right? That can't get me to 10. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 1, that can't get me to 10. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 4 is, can 12 and 2 get me to 10? Yes. So I need the 4 with the 3, and I need the 1 over here. What's negative, positive? What's going on? The larger number gets the positive, and this gets the negative. Now, I'm not done because it said to solve. So this is why, remember when you asked me with the leading coefficients, do we have to set it equal to 0 and show our work? And I said yes. This is why. Because here, I now have something that's going to take more than one step. Okay, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I'm going to say 3x equals 1. I'm going to divide by 3, so x equals 1/3. Here, I'm going to subtract 4 still, and x is going to equal -4. So my solutions are x equals 1/3 and x equals -4. Now, does that make sense why I told you to do that?
I thought it was supposed to be or -4. It was supposed to be
It's and or.
Okay.
Yeah.
have to see what's the solution or not, or would that be different?
Right now, we are not plugging back in to signify which one's the solution. Currently, in this lesson, we are not. We're just solving. Okay, let's do one more, and then I will give you time to work on homework. And then tomorrow we'll work on this again, because you can never have enough factoring practice. 5p squared minus 16p plus 15, okay, equals 4p minus 5. What do you think I need to do to that first? What do you think I need to do to that equation first? Get everything on one side of the equation so that it's set equal to 0, combine like terms. So I'm going to subtract 4p, and I'm going to add 5. So you end up getting 5p squared minus 20p plus 20 equals 0. Now, my next question, now that everything's set equal to 0, is can I take something out of all of that?
Yes.
What? A 5. So then I have p squared minus 4p plus 4 equals 0. Beautiful. Now I have to factor. So I have 5, and I have p, and I have p, because this one's easier. What multiplies to give me 4 and adds to give me negative 4?
Negative 1, negative 1, negative 4?
Nope. If I have negative 1, negative 4, then I have a negative 5. The other factors of 4 are, so what do they both have to be? Negatives. So these are the same thing, correct? Okay. So I would rewrite it like this. 5 times p minus 2 squared. Okay. Because I had a perfect cube, or a perfect trinomial. So then, from here, all I have to do is set this one thing equal to 0. P minus 2 equals 0. So you're going to get P equals 2 when it's said to solve. It's the only possible solution in this case. That's where we're going to stop today. And then we're going to talk about this more tomorrow and add one little piece to it for word problems tomorrow.